Hi, I'm Cindy Cloud with Riley Blake Designs, and today we are showing you the 2025 RBD Block Challenge quilt. It's always been a mystery. This is year number 5, and this is the first time we're showing the quilt before the sew-along. So take a look. The quilt's right there behind me. Isn't it a beauty? There's 17 different blocks. The blocks were submitted by different RBD designers, and we're all going to be sewing along together. So I'm going to get you set to sew in the new year. We're going to have so much fun. So let's talk about what is needed for the sew along. So first, you're going to become very familiar with the Riley Blake Designs website if you're not already familiar, because we have a downloadable section of all of our free patterns. And you'll see we've got the RBD Block Challenge fabric requirements. Now the quilt behind me is made in our confetti cottons, our wonderful high quality confetti cottons. But we also have an option for batiks. Similar colors, just slightly different, but it's a beautiful quilt as well. So you're gonna go to our Riley Blake Designs website, download the RBD Challenge fabric, and all the requirements for each block are written on the back, but the fabric you'll need for each one of these colors is on the front with the color guide, as well as for the batiks. So you get to see what they both look like. So this is a challenge quilt. These aren't basic blocks. Some blocks are more difficult than others, but I'm gonna take you through week to week each block, and you can also follow along the designer and see how she creates her own block out of her own fabric. So of course you're gonna need a sewing machine. That's the number one thing you're gonna need. You're gonna need your cutting mat, and if you're a longtime quilter, you've got these supplies. A cutting ruler, rotary cutter, pin holder with pins, a marking pencil or tool, always a seam ripper. This is my Cindy seam ripper, comes in handy. You know, we all have to unpick a few times when we're sewing, don't we? So these are the required supplies that you're really going to need. Now the rest I'm going to talk about that is highly recommended. You're going to see me use these supplies throughout the tutorials, and I'm going to take you through one by one. So I highly recommend these So Handy stickers. They're used to mark your pieces, your units, and they really go hand in hand with the design boards to keep all your pieces organized as you're sewing. The next thing I highly recommend are these cute cut rulers. They're trim up rulers. I call them square up rulers. They really give you accurate blocks if you're squaring up your units one at a time, so your block will come together beautifully. Other assorted rulers, but this one is my favorite because I helped design it. It's a 1/4 inch plus ruler. It's good to trim down your blocks and gives you an accurate 1/4 inch. The plus is that you're able to cut off dog ears with these little side cuts right here. The other thing, of course, you have to have an iron and a pressing station. Highly recommend our quilters clappers. They're made in the United States, hardwood, and they press your blocks down and make your seams extremely flat. And again, just a nice tool. We have 2 different sizes. I use them both. Choose your favorite size. Another thing I highly recommend is Seam So Easy Guide. You don't have to have it. You can mark all your markings to sew your blocks accurately. This sometimes saves you the step of marking your blocks like your half square triangles. Another thing I highly recommend are these rotating mats designed by Sue Daly. She has 2 sizes. I mainly use the smaller size, but sometimes the larger size comes in handy as well. So I'm coming back over to the machine. I've already got a Seam So Easy Guide set on this, but this is another little tool that I love on top of my machine. It's a little bee, and it's a thread cutter. So a lot of times I'll be using this as I'm chain piecing my blocks. So you get all those supplies, you're gonna be set to sew. And then when we start sewing together, you're just gonna, from week to week, download the pattern. This is the first pattern. Lori Holt's the first quilt block in our RBD Block Challenge. And the pattern, everything you need to All the instructions to create the block is in the pattern that you download on the Riley Blake Designs website, as well as suggested tools. So we are so excited to sew along with you in 2025, and reach out to us if you have any questions. A lot of our shops, our online, your favorite quilt shop, our online retailer will be selling all these supplies as well as quilt kits to make this fantastic quilt. Or you can just order these individual pieces from your favorite online retailer or favorite quilt shop, and everything you need is on this fabric requirement guide. So I hope with all that, you are set to sew with us in 2025.